A Brexit Secretary of State seemingly chipper this afternoon before giving a big speech on our future outside the EU.
Secretary of State, the floor is yours.
But appearances deceive. Tonight, David Davis is considering his future, whether to quit. The reason is he's unhappy at how Downing Street, the Prime Minister, won't follow his advice on putting an end date on a scheme to reassure the EU there won't be a hard border in Northern Ireland. So is he poised to resign tomorrow?
That's a question, I think, for the Prime Minister, to be honest.
And what backstop plan will be published?
The detail of this is being discussed at the moment. It's been through one Cabinet Committee, is going to another one, and it would be improper of me to preempt the negotiation there, but I suspect it will be fairly decisive tomorrow.
The EU has demanded a backstop plan to keep the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic open. And Theresa May's version of it, to be published tomorrow, would keep the UK and the customs union and much of the single market till alternative proposals can be shown to work. Now, the Prime Minister insists the backstop would only be temporary. But what worries David Davis and other Brexiters is that she's refusing to publish a formal end date for it. So their fear is the backstop could become permanent, which would see the UK following EU rules forever. Is David Davis right to be worried that we are sending a proposal to Brussels for a backstop without an end date?
I do have sympathy with David Davis. His job is to negotiate. He needs the maximum flexibility and at the same time clarity to make that negotiation. I would expect that the government will stick to its original position, which was the backstop is a temporary backstop. It will last only a matter of months.
Now, that may be what Theresa May ultimately wants.
Are you bungling Brexit, Prime Minister?
But tonight, Downing Street was saying there'd be no such end date promise in what's put out tomorrow, so another headache for her after a day of Brexit headaches.
When it comes to Brexit, this government has delivered more delays and more cancellations than Northern Rail. The government's white paper is delayed, its customs proposals have been cancelled, and it's ripped up its own timetable.
Labour voted for a referendum. They voted to trigger Article 50. And since then, they have tried to frustrate the Brexit process at every stage. The British people voted to leave the European Union, and it is this government that is delivering on the vote of the British people.
So these are some of the Tory rebels who next Tuesday are set to vote against May's version of Brexit. Yes, it's a government promising to supposedly liberate us from the EU, but which cannot escape constant Brexit crisis.
And Robert joins me in the studio now. Robert, I mean, David Davis has threatened to resign before, but do you think things may be different this time over this issue?
Oh, yeah, very much so. I mean, let's be clear, this time it is serious for a couple of reasons. One is relations between David Davis on the one hand, Downing Street, Theresa May on the other, have been deteriorating for some time. They've been losing confidence in him. He's been increasingly fed up that he's felt marginalised, that they've been calling the shots on Brexit, despite the fact he's got the Brexit title. Now, the reason he is particularly incensed that she wants tomorrow to publish this backstop plan without an end date in the plan is he thinks that will desperately undermine his ability to negotiate, because once the EU has the backstop, basically Britain staying in the customs union and partly in the single market, he believes they will have absolutely no incentive to take seriously the other proposals the government wants, this so-called Max Fact proposal or this new customs partnership proposal, which are alternatives to staying in the customs union and would see the UK breaking free of EU rules to a much greater extent. Tonight, he is talking to his closest allies. Those who advise him say, frankly, it is 50-50 whether he goes. I have to say, my sources tell me that it's not definite, but if he were to go, this would be the most serious resignation she's faced, because Brexit is absolutely at the heart of everything this government does, and to lose the person in charge at this juncture would be very damaging. Big question whether she would survive it.
So it's a fundamental moment for her. Thank you very much indeed, Robert.